The leader of Iran has just fallen. Not poetically, not metaphorically, but in the raw, concrete sense, without return. And somewhere in the world, a man living a perfectly ordinary life with a false name, a forged passport, and neighbors who think he's a telecommunications engineer has just seen that news on his phone and does not react, does not smile, does not feel anything at all because he has been so long unable to react to anything that he no longer knows how to do it. That someone is you, and this is what no newscast will tell you. Let's go back 8 years to understand how you end up being the ghost behind the most explosive geopolitical collapse of the last decade. First, you need to know how it all started. And it didn't begin with an impossible mission or a suitcase full of cash. It began with a conversation in a Vienna cafe on a Tuesday afternoon while you were drinking a cafe latte that cost €4.50. €4.50. That is the price of the first step toward becoming the most valuable intelligence asset the CIA has had in the Middle East in 20 years. What would you do if that cafe were yours? You're Iranian, born in Tehran, but you studied nuclear engineering at the Technical University of Vienna on a scholarship from your government. The kind of scholarship that's basically your employer paying for an elite degree while expecting total loyalty in return. The problem is you spent 5 years in Europe. 5 years watching how the world operates when a regime doesn't dictate what you can think, what you can see, who you can meet. 5 years are enough for something inside you to crack without you noticing. You're not a dissident. You don't go to demonstrations. You don't run a clandestine blog. You are something far more dangerous to the regime. Someone who knows the system from the inside and who has seen how the world could work differently. That cannot be cured by propaganda. You are 28, with a PhD almost finished, and a job waiting for you at the National Atomic Agency. Your mother tells the neighbors her son is a nuclear engineer. Your younger brother, Darius, 21, a technician in the Revolutionary Guard, sends you messages asking when you'll come home. Everything neat, everything controlled. Then a man sits at your table in the Schwartz's Camel Cafe in the 1st District of Vienna. Michael sits down with you, and they already know you. He tells you his name is Michael and that he's been following your file for 18 months. Michael doesn't look like a CIA officer, and you realize afterwards that's exactly the point. He looks like a middle-aged university professor with bad shoes and a coat that needs ironing. He speaks flawless Austrian-accented German. He orders a melange, pays in cash, doesn't take a briefcase out, doesn't place anything on the table. He speaks surprisingly fluent Spanish to you. What? He knows you finished your dissertation 6 months earlier than planned. What? You turned down an offer from a German energy company that would have paid you 3 times what you'll make in Tehran, and that last month you called your mother crying because you didn't want to go back. That last one freezes you because you made that call from a phone booth. You took precautions. Michael looks at you calmly and drinks his coffee. In that moment, you understand 2 things at once. First, they've been watching you longer than what he just said. Second, if they wanted to hurt you, they would already have done it. This is not a threat. This is an audition. You say nothing. Michael says nothing. There are 45 seconds of silence in which the cafe's background, cups, conversations in German, the creak of the old wooden floor, becomes deafening. Then Michael takes out a business card with only a phone number, leaves it on the table and stands. He leaves a tip. He walks out. You stare at that card for 11 minutes. Then you put it into the inner pocket of your jacket, pay, go out into the street. Vienna's February cold hits you in the face like an unanswered question. You wait 4 days to call. But watch this. What you have discovered is not that the CIA wants to recruit you. What you have discovered is that the CIA already decided you would work for them 18 months before you made that decision. They analyzed your psychological profile, your cognitive vulnerabilities, your encrypted communications, your fears. They built a dossier on you more detailed than anything you ever built about yourself. In the spy world, this is called identification of a potential high-value asset. In less elegant terms, it means they had you measured, weighed, and labeled before you even knew they existed. Do you know how long the CIA invests in recruitment at this level? 18 months on average. 18 months of analysts watching your movements, your operational habits, your first and second degree relationships. All to make sure that when Michael stood up from that table, you would keep the card instead of throwing it away. You kept it. The next 3 months are the strangest of your life, and that's just the beginning of the permanent strangeness to come. Michael doesn't ask anything operational of you straight away. He asks you to go back to Iran to accept the job at the agency, to be, in every observable sense, exactly the loyal nuclear engineer the regime expects. This is the most psychologically costly part of the entire process, all before doing anything. Returning to Tehran after 5 years in Vienna is like trying on an old suit that no longer fits. The city is the same. The smell of dust, traffic, freshly baked Barbary bread. But you are not the same, and now you have to act as if you are. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in front of your mother, Darius, your superiors. Your mother makes you fesenjan the first Sunday you return. Chicken stew with pomegranate and walnuts. 3 hours of preparation because she knows it's your favorite. You sit at the family table, you eat, you smile, you listen to your father talk politics, to Darius talk about his work in the Guard. You agree, you ask, you participate, and while you do this, a part of your brain is cataloging, archiving. It's the first moment you realize that betrayal doesn't feel like betrayal. When you rationalize it a certain way, it feels like survival, like clarity. That should worry you more than it does. The job at the Atomic Agency is technically fascinating and morally complicated from day one. You have access to enrichment projects the government calls civilian, but any non-proliferation specialist will see what they are in reality. Uranium enriched to 93% is not for generating electricity. You already know what it is. During the first 4 months, you don't send anything to Michael. Not because you lack classified material, you have plenty, but because he didn't ask for anything. We each have our rhythms, he told you in Vienna. The improvising agent is the agent who dies. That phrase will haunt you for years. You carry a communications device that doesn't look like a device. It looks like a corporate USB stick. It lives in a leather case inside your briefcase among technical documents. Darius has seen that briefcase dozens of times and never asked about it. The real espionage, the kind that doesn't appear in films, is 98% absolute boredom. You are simply an engineer who goes to work, eats in the building canteen, checks plasma density calculations, and goes home. The other 2% are the moments that make your hands tremble, even when you don't want them to. The first transmission arrives in month 5. Michael asks via the device for a specific document on the centrifuge capabilities at the Natanz enrichment facility. Not the whole document, only 3 pages of an annex with estimates of operational capacity. 3 pages in PDF exfiltrated through a jump server registered to an import company in Cyprus. It takes you 40 minutes to photograph those pages. You send them one Thursday at 11:47 p.m. from your apartment bathroom with the tap running, not because you need noise to mask anything, but because the ritual steadies you. You finish, you put away the device, you leave the tap running for a minute more, you close it, you wash your hands even though they aren't dirty, you look at yourself in the bathroom mirror. There is someone in that glass who has just crossed a line of no return. It doesn't matter what you tell yourself that night about democratic values, about global security, about doing the right thing on a larger scale. You have delivered classified information of your country to a foreign intelligence service. In Iran, that has one concrete consequence. It is called public execution. Your hands don't tremble. That is what frightens you most, and this is what happens next and what you won't be able to rationalize the same way. The CIA doesn't invest 18 months in recruiting a high-value asset to receive 3 pages of an annex. They chose you because your access would grow, and with it, what they would ask of you. Your daily life acquires the texture of sandpaper, smooth outside, gnawing inside. In department meetings, your colleagues talk about the Islamic Revolution with a conviction you can't fully match or simulate. So you learn the exact phrase to say, "I agree," without offering too much emotional energy. It takes you 3 months to perfect it. You practice it each morning in front of the mirror. Darius calls twice a week. He is the kind of younger brother who admires you in a way that has become almost unbearable. You want him to be like you. He asks about your work and you answer with real affection while holding the permanent awareness that if Darius knew what you were doing, he would denounce you. Not because he is a bad person, but because he truly believes what he believes, and that fact makes loving him complicated in a way you cannot explain to anyone. That is the core of all this. There is no one in the world you can talk to about what you are actually living. Michael exists, but Michael is not a confidant. He is your operational controller. The difference between those two things is enormous, though at first it doesn't seem that way. You sleep an average of 5 hours a night in the first year, not from field activity, but from the weight of being 2 people simultaneously, neither able to breathe fully. In month 14, you are promoted, not to a lesser position. The system rewards you. They put you in charge of technical coordination for Project Simorg, the name the government gives to programs it doesn't want the world to know exist. With that promotion, you gain access to what the CIA has been trying to obtain through other channels for years. The inspection schedule and the real estimates of material production, euphemisms for uranium enriched to levels no civilian program ever needs. Michael replies to the promotion news in 8 minutes. For someone who normally takes 48 hours to respond, that is the equivalent of having fallen off a chair. The message says, "Excellent. Keep a low profile. Next contact in 72 hours." 72 hours later, at 1900, your device delivers the longest list of requirements you've ever received. 16 classified points prioritized 1 to 3. The top 6 are Level 1, urgent. Someone in Langley has been losing sleep for weeks waiting for exactly this. Month 16, ordinary department meeting, Wednesday morning. The coffee in the break room has been sitting too long in the pot, and someone brought Raf San John pistachios, the expensive kind that rarely appear at work meetings. Your director, Colonel Mohammadi, arrives 5 minutes late. For a man of rigid military discipline, that is like arriving with his hands stained by something he doesn't want you to see. He sits, places a folder on the table, doesn't open it yet. He says the Ministry of Intelligence has detected a leak in the nuclear facilities sector. They don't know the exact vector nor the full magnitude, but they know it exists and have commissioned each department to produce an internal report on potential vulnerabilities in their own areas. Your area, the colonel tells you, looking directly at you, though perhaps accidentally, is one of those with the widest access to the compromised data. The pistachio you have in your mouth suddenly tastes like dust because what the colonel just described is you. The leak is you, and they've assigned you to write the report on yourself. What would you do now? You have to draft 14 pages of technical analysis on how your department's information might have been compromised without the report pointing back to you, without being so vague that it looks like you're covering something up, and without being so specific that you hand them a roadmap to find you. It takes you 9 days. You sleep 3 hours a night. You can't eat more than 1 full meal a day because your stomach refuses to cooperate. The final report is 16 pages, 2 more than requested. It outlines 5 theoretical vectors of vulnerability. All plausible, none real. All designed to scatter the investigation in 4 simultaneous directions. You submit it. The colonel reads it in your presence, nods, thanks you. Thorough work, he says. You leave his office, go to the bathroom, turn on the tap, splash cold water on your face. The ritual that kept you sane for months no longer works the same way, but sometimes ritual is all you have. What comes next are 18 months you will later call in conversations you never have with anyone. The months of double gravity. You are no longer just someone who passes technical intelligence. You are someone who knows they are being hunted, who actively helps them not to find you, and who must continue to function as one of the 10 best technicians in the agency according to your performance review. In month 19, you are given a raise of 22%. Your director recommends you for an internal leadership program. The very system you are sabotaging from inside rewards you for the quality of your sabotage. Your mother is proud. Darius sends 3 clapping emojis when you tell him about the raise. You reply with a heart. A heart. That is the level of dissociation in which you live now. Month 23. Michael informs you the operational mandate has expanded. In unencrypted language, they now want intelligence on the Supreme Leader himself, not on his programs. His real agenda, his movements, the places he meets that don't appear on any official calendar, the decision-making apparatus behind the public facade. You take 48 hours to answer. You walk through Tehran, through the Grand Bazaar, the Laleh Gardens, the Niavaran neighborhood where the pines smell in a way they only smell in Iran. You think of Darius, who works for the regime and believes in it. You think of your mother. You think of what would happen to them if you were discovered. Not an abstract question, but one with a historically documented answer. Then you think about the real numbers you've seen in Project Cymork documents. On the second day, you write 6 words. Understood. I need time to position myself. Positioning takes 4 months. Lateral access is the only way into closed systems. You will not be invited to the Supreme Leader's meetings. You will be inserted into a technical infrastructure committee that in its second layer of internal documentation has direct links to an operational calendar of facilities the leader visits twice a month. Twice a month, specific facilities, approximate dates, security protocols you can infer with precision from your committee role. That's what the agency wanted. Not a satellite, not a drone, but a 31-year-old nuclear engineer with level 4 security clearances and the ability to be in the right meetings with the right face. It's 23:40 on a Thursday in your Tehran apartment. The device holds a 2-month calendar, inferred security protocols, movement patterns, and the vulnerability window you identified earlier. This intelligence is different. It is about a person, where he will be, when, and with what protection. A 40-second voice from Darius, a team success, and casually, when you'll come to mom's. You put the phone down and stare at the city. You decide not to send it tonight. The device buzzes. A photo of your parents in their garden, taken today from outside the fence. Under it, 3 words in Farsi. Don't be late. Ambiguity is a tool. Your hands tremble for the first time in 2 years. You send the calendar. 4 seconds via satellites and jump servers to handlers who know what to do. You call Darius and promise to come. You sit in the dark. Weeks later, the world calls it an accident, an unconfirmed incident, then a euphemism. The leader has fallen. The investigation narrows and a convenient scapegoat emerges. Arash Karimi, an ordinary man with a family. Michael tells you Langley saw the pattern and chose not to intervene. You do nothing. 6 weeks later, you are exfiltrated through Istanbul, given a new passport and a new name, resettled in milder weather with cover. Your family believes you disappeared. You are free, safe, a living tomb. 4 seconds tied a Vienna latte to a headline. Was it worth it? You can't know. That's the honest answer.